I'm so excited to introduce you to this piece often sung by Bethel called Goodness of God. And in this piano tutorial, I'll be teaching you some of the ways you can create your own arrangement, whether you're hoping to sing and play or whether you're working along with the worship team and just part of what's happening there. So the first thing you'll need to know is this one uses 7 different chords, and I've got some visuals coming up for you that show you how to find those chords if you're new to chording. So we'll be using an A major triad, which is A, C sharp, E. We'll use A sus4, which is A, D, E. And sus doesn't stand for suspicious in this case, it stands for a suspension. So it kind of feels like there's some suspense there when you go. You can hear that little bit of a resolve. The next triad you'll use is D major, D, F sharp, A. Then we'll be using an E major, E, G sharp, B. We'll also be using E major in another, what we call inversion. So root position is here. First inversion has that G sharp, B, and an E. And we often call those a slash chord. So it says G sharp and then a / E. And that just means it's an E chord, but we're going to have G sharp as the root or the base of the chord. The next triad we'll be using is an F sharp minor triad, and that has F sharp, A, C sharp, and then we'll have a C sharp / A. And again, it's just an A major chord, and they're suggesting that the C sharp is at the bottom, like that, C sharp, E, A. So I've got that in the pictures as well. Sometimes with slash chords, you can just do it with the left hand doing that different note and having the right hand still keep the A major shape, but we'll show you a couple ways you can make that happen. So let's dive right in. We've got an introduction. This one is in 4/4. It's in the key of A major. We'll get into why that matters in a little while. And we'll get into the fact that your melody starts with, I love you, Lord. Now, I often get my students to kind of tune up their voice with the key they're aiming for, because it's amazing how tricky it can be when you just play a random triad and you're thinking, what note am I starting on? So it kind of helps sometimes to go, I love you, Lord, before you get started or before the singers get started when you're first learning. Of course, later on, you'll just kind of have a sense of where to go, but when you first start, that can be helpful. So the introduction for this one, we'll pop that up on the screen, is A and A sus4. Now, you really can get creative. You don't have to do the same rhythm I have. It helps to choose a rhythm, and it is in 4/4, so we might do something like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And so that could be your introduction. So you can practice shifting between those triads. For me, I am going to put my thumb in the left hand on the A note, because when we go, I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me all my days. I've been held in your hands. You can see that then I don't have to shift around a lot. So then if you're newer, that works smoothly. You can also use octaves in the bass if you have done that technique before. So there's your introduction. Next up is verse 1. And while you're doing the introduction, we say that I love you is actually what's called a pickup beat. So beat 1 starts on the word Lord. So we're going, I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. So let's try that again. We have an A major, I love you, Lord, to the D, for your mercy never fails me. Awesome. So now we can add the left hand, and we'll go the same with our voice tuning was I love you. So we know that. I love you, Lord, For your mercy never fails me. The next part of verse 1 has those cool all my days. So it has the E/G sharp, and you can see that on the visual. All my days I've been held in your hands. So we have E over E/G sharp to F sharp minor. I've been held in your hands. Now in our left hand, we're using the bass is kind of what the chord is called, is how we're going to do it this time. So for this one, you can do all my days. So it's saying that G sharp is the root. All my days, I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up. So we had the wake up on F sharp minor. Wake up to D major until I lay my head. So I love that progression. I love that A to G sharp, E/G sharp to F minor. Oh, I will sing on D major of the goodness of God. Now, in this arrangement, I've started you with solid triads when we play them blocked or solid, all the notes at once. But you can also explore because you're creating your own arrangement. So once your rhythm is feeling solid, you're used to those shifts, then you can try things like rocking back and forth. I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. So the hard thing with rocking is you do have to figure out how many times you're going to rock it to keep it moving with the beat. So that's sometimes why I teach solid first. And at the end of this tutorial, I'll also show you how to put in a bit of melody if you like. But now we've learned verse 1. So let's move on to the chorus. Now the chorus does work better for this rocking style because the chord progressions move a little slower, so it might be good to try that. So the first part goes, the D major comes before you start singing. So it goes D. All my life you have been faithful to the A. Then back to D. All my life you have been A to E, la da da, D with every breath that I am able. Now your fingers will already know that because we went A to the G sharp, that's E over G sharp, to the F sharp minor. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. So you had I will D of the goodness on E of God on the A. So you can tell that with chorded music, often we'll find that once we learn the first verse and the chorus, we've really tackled most of the song because there will be some repeats. Although it's nice to start then building out your ideas for actually arranging it. So in this style, this is a little interlude, but later on as you get the rhythm really set and you're feeling more and more confident, there are small ways that you can spice it up a little. So one of them would be to add octaves in the left hand. I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me all my days. So you can start adding more things like that. You can also have adding the melody in the right hand, and that's totally different, but this is a little hint about what's to come. If you think you might want a more advanced tutorial, you can let me know in the comments, but if this first tutorial is just where you're at, then that's fabulous too. So that's what's later on if we start adding a little bit of the melody into it. But make sure that that's more what you save if you're a pianist doing a solo. And when you're on a worship team, it's really okay and wonderful to keep the keys as just a nice part of what's happening with the whole band. So here we go on to verse 2, and this gets exciting because you'll say, oh my goodness, I've learned a lot of this already. So we have, I love your voice. You have led me through the fire. So you can see that we're using A, I love your voice. You have led on D through the fire and in darkest night. So you can hear the slashed chord again, darkest night. You are close on D, close like no other. Then I've known you as a father on F sharp minor, F sharp A, C. And the D comes after, I've known you as a father. And I love adding that traveling note. So I've known you as a father, bom, bom, to the D. I've known you as a friend, da, da, da. So again, we have this, known you as a friend, da, 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 da. Oh, I will sing on D of the goodness on E of God. So what beautiful words as well to enjoy this piece, and so much truth. I hope that this really also touches your heart while you're learning this one yourself, or whether you're working alongside students. So now we do go back into the chorus, and you will already know this, but up next is the bridge, and that is new material. So we have chorus, all my life you have been faithful. Oh, all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able. We have that descending pattern. Now I will sing of the goodness of God. 3. Now, this one really does suit what sometimes we call vamping. Nothing to do with vampires, just that repeated gentle chord to kind of keep the music moving. If your technique just works better to stay still, that's okay too. Make sure your wrists feel really relaxed for this, but you can, whoopsie, 1, and all my life you have been faithful. 3, 4, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able. So that one has some flexibility as you start to feel the beat, to add your own variations in to that. So now this is exciting. We are getting to the first time we've spotted the bridge, and this has a bit of a leap up for your voice. So singing it, I might get squeaky here, but it's 'cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. So you're going to be using the A/C sharp chord, which means it's an A triad, but we're going to have a C sharp at the bottom. So if you like, you can do that in the right hand. C sharp, E, and A. 'Cause your goodness is D major, it's running after on E of me on A. Then it repeats that. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. And if you like, you can use the open octaves there if your hand suits that, or you can use the single bass note. So if it says it's a A chord, you can use A in the bass, or if it says it's a /C sharp, then the C sharp would be the bass note. 'Cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Again. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. So you can see that it's the same chord progression again, with my life laid down, and then surrendered now is the D. Give you everything. That's the top of my range, and I'd have to breathe a little into that and do some vocal warm-ups as well. And then we're back to, 'cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. So that part is a really fun one, that we're just using A/C sharp to D to E to A, and that happens 4 times with just a little give you everything. Oh yeah, there's a F sharp minor the one time. So that will be on the chords here on the screen. You can practice those, and again, rhythm's the most important, so you might not be doing anything different at first other than just playing a left hand note and playing your triad, but it has so much potential to grow into different exciting things as your technique grows. Later I might So you can expand on those ideas a lot in the future, and start simple always. So lastly, we just have 2 more choruses, and those are the same notes. There's a little variation in the words at the very last chorus, so I'll spot that here. We have the D coming in just before the beat, so all my life you have been faithful, down to A. Now, one thing I should mention is that I love playing things really musically. So even if you're just playing a few notes, you can really add a lot to a piece by choosing sometimes a dynamic that's louder, like might be loud on the bridge, and then you could have a quieter chorus. All my life you have been faithful. Again. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. And then on the final chorus, you could decide if you want to expand that outward and have it a triumphant ending with some volume, or it could fade into really quiet. So you can play around with dynamics with this, and that really helps with congregational singing too. If you're leading from the piano, it's something that makes it easier for people to follow along. So then we've got the final chorus right here. We have D. All my life you have been faithful, to an A. Do, 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 do. All my life you have been A, so good, on E. With every breath that I am able. And you get that beautiful A to the G sharp to the F. Oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. Now, I added the F sharp in there. I kind of love that on the end. So it says, oh, I'm going to sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I'm going to sing of the goodness of God. And at the end, because we're in A major, we can add the A major is the tonic, so that makes us feel like we've come home again. So I hope that that gives you some ways to start thinking about playing worship music. I'll add some of these visuals to the screen for you. The other thing you can think of is if later you're wanting to expand into like, how do you find the melody? I have to admit, I was a total melody cheater because I would sing part of it and then find some of it. So I wasn't as disciplined at finding every melody note. But something I love about creating an arrangement is when you know the scale. So I told you at the very beginning that we're working in this scale of A major for this one. And every single note in the melody is actually found in those A major scale notes. So as you're picking out the melody by ear, you're going to go, oh, I know it's going to be somewhere in these notes, and you'll know that those are the black notes you're going to find, and those are the white notes you're going to find, and that's going to make it easier. So for instance, we have, I love you, Lord, your mercy never fails me. And so I would do something like that myself, like, okay, where is it? All my days. And so when you're finding the melody, also know that it's normal to have to pick it out. Some ears might hear it right away, but I admit that my ear, I had to work really hard to get used to playing it like this. If you want to hear my arrangement of this, I'll link that video next when I'm just playing and enjoying finding an arrangement of my own. And I hope this gives you a start to playing for yourself.